Welcome to DENTCA, the world's first CAD-CAM denture. With this introductory video, we will teach you about the DENTCA system and how to incorporate it into your practice today so that you can start providing better and more predictable prosthetics for your patients. What is DENTCA? DENTCA is a company based out of California that fabricates digital dentures. When you take your impressions, they're laboratory scanned, and then CAD-CAM prosthetics are fabricated. The DENTCA process is based upon sound literature-based techniques, and they combine those sound predictable techniques with cutting-edge technology in order to provide you and your patients with a better, more predictable product. Finally, DENTCA simplifies the denture process not only for patients so that they can get a product quicker, but also for clinicians so that the process is simplified and more predictable. With DENTCA, you can provide quality CAD-CAM dentures for your patients in just 2 visits. At the first visit, you'll utilize the DENTCA protocol to capture accurate impressions and interocclusal records. You'll send that information through the mail to DENTCA in California, and on your second visit, you're able to seat the final denture. If you elect, you can have an optional try-in visit between visits 1 and 2. This try-in visit is recommended if you're just starting with DENTCA or if you have a patient that has unique aesthetic demands. Once the impressions are captured and sent to DENTCA in California, they receive them and scan them. The DENTCA software identifies several points on the impression once scanned, and based upon those points, they're able to determine the ideal functional and aesthetic situation for each individual patient. This functional and aesthetic situation includes tooth selection, both for posterior function and anterior aesthetics, the correct midline, the ideal occlusal plane, including the curves of Spee and the curves of Wilson, the correct articulation, and a post-palatal seal so that your final maxillary denture will have excellent retention. So in summary, you take your impressions clinically, send those to DENTCA where they're scanned and digitized. From there, they can print with a 3D printer an optional trial denture, and this will help you and your patient determine what precisely you want, what changes you want to make. Any changes that you make on the trial denture are sent directly to DENTCA so they can incorporate those into the final denture. The optional trial denture is converted to the final denture through a proprietary conversion process. So why would you choose CAD-CAM dentures when you've been choosing traditional process dentures for so long? The first reason is fewer visits for the patient. With my standard denture protocol, I'll have the patient come in for initial alginate. They'll come back for final impressions with custom trays. Then they'll come back for interocclusal records where I use a wax rim, face bow, centric relation, and vertical dimension. Then they come back for a wax tooth try-in, and at that point, they'll come in for their final denture. So for me, it's a minimum of 5 visits, an additional visit if any of those need to be repeated due to distortion or miscommunication between myself and the laboratory. With DENTCA, I eliminate several of those visits and several errors in communication. We have 1 visit, as previously mentioned, for impression and records, and 1 for delivery. Secondly, utilizing the DENTCA CAD-CAM system minimizes chair time, which is a benefit for both you and your patient. Utilizing the process previously described can take 5 or more hours to utilize those 5 or more visits. There are several lab steps involved, which drag the process out and end up taking even longer, up to a month or more, to have the final denture fabricated. With the DENTCA system, it's only 60 minutes of chair time, most of that in the first visit. Additionally, since there's only 1 laboratory step, or 2 if you're doing the try-in, it shortens the time from start to finish significantly, which patients truly appreciate. My favorite benefit of the DENTCA system and utilizing CAD-CAM dentures is the ability to duplicate the denture. As a prosthodontist, I see a lot of patients with conditions such as Parkinson's, which causes them to frequently drop and break their denture, Alzheimer's or dementia, which causes them to frequently lose their denture, or patients in nursing homes where dentures can get lost or stolen or accidentally transferred very easily. Finally, I see a lot of patients who travel. When patients travel, they prefer to have a prosthetic at home and a prosthetic in their suitcase, a prosthetic in their carry-on, in case they're traveling and their denture gets left at one place or the other. This is very common with lower dentures, as a lot of people will take their lower dentures out for comfort when they're traveling. With DENTCA, we have the ability to duplicate the original set of dentures precisely without having the patient come in for additional impressions or records. This is very convenient for me and my patient, as it eliminates a lot of stress on the patient's behalf. We also get improved precision. With every step of denture fabrication, there's significant room for error. There's expansion of the stone, expansion of the wax, and most consistently, I send my dentures out of state to have fabricated, and I'm putting wax in the mail in the hot Georgia sun, and I end up seeing a lot of times my final denture comes back a little bit different than my patient-approved wax tooth try-in. With DENTCA, there's no wax involved in any of the steps. This eliminates significant distortion from the beginning of the process through the end of the process. Also, a lot of the process is digitized, eliminating the human error in setup and processing. Once again, I'd like to welcome you to DENTCA and congratulate you for choosing to revolutionize your practice and providing an excellent product for both you and your patient.